Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please take your seats. The program is about to begin. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The program is about to begin.
Super creative, and I really like Connected World and Design Lab and all of the other really fun places there.
NYSCI makes me happy because I get the chance to explore new things.
I can do science with people young and old from all over the globe. In our own building, there are over 100 languages spoken. That's our secret sauce.
NYSCI, I can play fun games, and I really like it because
I can be innovative.
I can be curious.
I can see the generation of tomorrow understand the potential of science and how they can play a role in it.
At NYSCI, I can feel like I'm part of a community of makers, doers, thinkers, and of dreamers that can come under one roof
and really learn about myself and the world around me.
I can try anything, fail, and then do it again.
NYSCI is like no other place in New York because look where it's located. One of the best parks in Queens, Flushing Meadows, Corona Park.
NYSCI is like no other place in New York because it enables young people to connect the dots to science, technology, engineering, and math.
we love NYSCI!
NYSCI is like no other place in New York because it instantly opens up the door to opportunity. The opportunity to explore, to ask questions, to take risks, to create, and be yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President and CEO of the New York Hall of Science, Dr. Margaret Honey.
Hey. Good evening, everybody. I can't tell you how wonderful it is to see you all here in person to celebrate with us tonight this event that is all about science and inspiration. I also want to welcome all of the guests that have joined us online. The program tonight is streaming as well. So thank you here. I just said to one of my colleagues, you know, it feels a little bit like this group just got let out on the playground. So it's great. This is definitely a year for celebrating science. Many of you remember a year ago we met virtually for our gala, and at that time we really didn't have a path out of the COVID-19 pandemic. And since then, more than 7 billion vaccines that didn't exist a year ago, have been administered around the world. And, you know, the fact that you all joined us this evening says that we actually are beginning to prevail over what admittedly has been a very challenging period of time for all of us. Science is amazing. And, you know, during this same period of time, we have done a number of other things. We've sent a helicopter to Mars and launched into space probably the most ingenious and most powerful telescope ever. We also have ended the second largest Ebola outbreak in the world. We discovered a plastic-eating bacteria to help us clean up our oceans. And we've invented a generator that uses natural waste to create drinking water. Imagine what that can do for places in the world. And, you know, there's no doubt about it. We all know this. You're all science people. We continue to face many challenges, one of which is severe weather due to climate change. It's a challenge that has affected us all this year. Many of you know that it's deeply impacted NYSCI. We'll share more about this later in the program, but despite the challenges that we face as an institution and as a society, as a planet, I believe, and I know all of you believe, that science is what is going to enable us to solve these challenges. Science and technology make our world better, but this is only possible, and you just saw this in the video we played, if we nurture young people to be curious and give them tools to explore their world and to solve problems that matter to them. This is what we do day in and day out at the Hall of Science. We do this through our museum experiences, we do this in live and virtual STEM programs, and we also do this through our research on learning. The overarching theme of all of our work, from hosting students on field trips, to engaging local families, to supporting teachers, and exposing young people to career opportunities in STEM, the overarching theme is a guiding philosophy that we shorthand as design, make, play. I'd like to take just a couple minutes and share a brief story about how our approach translates into experiences for our visitors, and particularly our young visitors. So when we reopened the museum last summer, we debuted a new exhibition called The Happiness Experiment. The pandemic, of course, created, you know, all sorts of trauma for all of us. And in our estimation, the exhibit was a way to invite our visitors to process the personal and collective difficulties that they had endured over the last 2 years. So the exhibit is anchored in the science of happiness, and it explores issues of resilience and the underlying psychology and brain science that is involved in overcoming adversity. And it's also a way to bring joy to our visitors as they returned to our museum. In one of the exhibit experiences, we invite visitors to contribute their own ideas. So you can write down on a sheet of paper something that made you stronger during this difficult time and hang it up as part of the exhibition to share with others. Or you can do the opposite. You can write down something difficult, something you want to get rid of, and then crank it through a giant paper shredder and watch the pieces mix with other shredded stories. Needless to say, our visitors found it very satisfying. There was one little boy who would literally never leave the experience. They loved shredding up their troubles and seeing them fly away. Who wouldn't, right? Who wouldn't? So one family shared a story with me. They brought their 7-year-old to the museum. He was completely delighted with the exhibit. And when they came to this experience, the Write Down Your Story experience, he wrote something down that he had been struggling with deeply during the pandemic. His family knew something was bothering him, but until that moment, he really hadn't opened up about it. He shared it with his family and he said, "Now I'm ready to get rid of this." And he shredded it up. Since then, they told me it actually opened a window into issues that he had been struggling with and was unable to express. These are the kinds of experiences that we create at NYSCI, inviting young people to solve problems and feel empowered by their decisions. This is what our Design, Make, Play approach fosters in everything we do. We are so happy to have you join us tonight and, in a small way, give you a bit of a taste of what NYSCI is all about. So before we move on to introduce you to our wonderful honorees, I want to thank a few people who make our work possible and have provided generous contributions through our gala. And I'll ask you all, just hold your applause until I get to the end. And at that time, we can have I'm going to ask everybody to stand and we can have a big round of applause. So I want to begin by thanking our Titan sponsors, Ravenel Curry, Glenn DeVries, Nick and Anita D'Onofrio, Dev Ida Cheria, Andrew Thomas, the Kupperberg Foundation, MongoDB, Tarek Sharif, and Verizon. Thank you also to our Gemini sponsors. And I especially want to recognize our gala co-chairs, Al Bunshaft and Frank D'Souza. Thank you for your leadership in this year's event. I also want to acknowledge the members of our President's Council who have joined us this evening, both in person and online. Your support, particularly during these challenging times, has been outstanding. And last but not least, our deeply committed and passionate Board of Trustees. NYSCI would not be what it is without your leadership. See, chokes me up. So now I invite all of you who I just mentioned to stand for a round of applause, please. Thank you all. Thank you all. So it's now time to recognize our extraordinary honorees. To start things off, I would like to invite Gala co-chair, NYSCI trustee, and former co-chair of our board, Frank D'Souza, to the podium.
Thank you, Margaret, and good evening, everyone. I'm Frank D'Souza. As Margaret said, tonight's gala co-chair, a NYSCI trustee, and more than anything, just a huge fan of the institution. And I'd like to start by thanking so many of you for joining us tonight and supporting us. It's really great to be back celebrating in this room together after some challenging times. We have tonight two incredibly accomplished leaders in science, engineering, and technology that we're recognizing. To help us present the first award, I'd like to introduce one of our explainers, Kushant Khurana. So for those of you that don't know, our explainers are high school and college-age students that participate in NYSCI'S Science Career Ladder program. This group of amazing young people interact every day with our visitors to create memorable science experiences at the museum. And you'll learn more about this program, the Science Career Ladder, and the explainers later this evening. Now, Kushant was able to spend a little bit of time with our first honoree, David Tacharia, when he came to visit NYSCI earlier this summer. Tonight, we're here to honor Dave with the Creative Entrepreneurship Award for Dave's incredible and many accomplishments in the technology sector. Dave has, over the last 2 decades of experience as an entrepreneur, an operator, and an investor, really specialized in high-growth software companies. And as you'll hear in a minute, has just an amazing track record. After graduating from Rutgers University with a degree in electrical engineering, Dave started his professional career at AT&T. At just 31 years old, he started his first company, Applica, and then merged it with Breakaway, and helped then take the combined company public in 1999. He then co-founded Blade Logic in 2001, which he led through a difficult environment to become one of the most successful IPOs in 2007. And if that wasn't enough, he then sold the company to BMC Software in 2008 for over $900 million. And, you know, for most of us, that would be enough, but not for Dave. Dave then used his business acumen to transition into venture capital to lead investments in innovative companies, such as New York City's own Datadog, that took advantage of the platform transition that was created by the cloud. And then Dave joined MongoDB in 2014 and transformed what was then a small private database company into a successful public company in 2017 that is disrupting today one of the largest markets in technology. Under Dave's leadership, MongoDB has really changed how modern software applications are built. He's acquired tens of thousands of customers, rapidly expanded operations around the world, and delivered over 50% compound annual revenue growth over the last 7 years. He continues his leadership in the tech sector by providing guidance and mentorship to other technology leaders and investors as a board member and as an advisor. And I will tell you that as a colleague and as a friend, I can't think of anybody more deserving of this award. So let me turn it over to Kushant.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kushant Khurana, an explainer at the New York Hall of Science. So this last summer, I had the great fortune to meet Dev, a fellow engineer, and take inspiration from his career, path, and work ethic. Now, I'm a firm believer that's a very common thought. I'm not the only person who feels that Dev is a role model. So, to better analyze how meeting Dev had affected my growth, I had to take a step back and reflected on my progress as a striving adult before and after meeting Dave. And yes, I have to say yes, Dave, meeting you definitely inspired me to be more dedicated, to be more focused, and provided me a definitive milestone to which I can look up to and say, I want to replicate that level of success. Thank you for that. Now, we'll be presenting a short video introducing Dave and featuring some highlights from our time together at the New York Hall of Science.
Because of science, we can have a transformative effect on society. My exposure to science came in different ways. One, my father was an engineer, and then he ultimately became a rocket scientist, so that was fascinating to see and observe. My parents were posted in Nigeria, and there wasn't that much to do, so they bought me this video game called Pong, and I was fascinated. Beyond the pleasure it provided, I was really interested in how it all worked. I started my first company when I was 31, and my life has profoundly changed since then. I think entrepreneurship allows you to have an amazing impact in society, allows you to create jobs, allows you to transform people's lives, allows you to help customers solve important problems, and allows you to lay the foundation for other people to build upon what you've done. And to me, the backbone of that is all about STEM and having that training, identifying problems, and then finding better ways or better solutions to solve those problems. I was fortunate to have mentors and a family that was very, very focused on STEM, but I know that's not the case for a lot of people. The earlier you start people in STEM, I think the better outcomes you have. What NYSCI does allow young people to connect how STEM has an important role in their lives and other people's lives.
NYSCI is honoring David Cheria with the Creative Entrepreneurship Award because Dave is someone who has exemplified in many years of his career the kind of creativity and persistence and problem solving that is at the heart of entrepreneurship, particularly in the tech sector.
I believe learning how to code is almost as important as learning how to read, write, and do math. You want to harvest the natural curiosity, understand why the world works the way it is, and as the world gets more technical and technological, STEM plays a huge role.
Because of science, I can be curious. Science is not like a simple field of study, but a variety of concepts that are always evolving. And NYSCI, I think, really understands that idea when designing its exhibits. After meeting Dave, I realized that I do not have to take my education on a fast track. He started his first company in his early 30s, and that really gave me hope I'll succeed.
For a business like MongoDB, it all starts with people. And for us to hire great people, we need to have access to a lot of talent. Having basic fundamental technical skills is a prerequisite to almost do any job, not only today, but in the future. NYSCI is enabling young people to use science, technology, engineering, and math to make themselves, very competitive. I'm obviously both feel privileged and humbled. I have an amazing team. And I think the award being given to me is really a reflection of how profoundly MongoDB is changing, not just New York, but the world. And so it's important for us to continue to nurture that talent. It's important for us to have great schools that offer great STEM curriculum. NYSCI plays a huge role in making that happen, and I would love to see New York continue to blossom as one of the tech capitals in the world.
Now, I would like to present Dev with this NYSCI'S Creative Entrepreneurship Award.
Thank you. Gosh, that's a little embarrassing. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Frank for those really kind words. Frank's track record in terms of creative entrepreneurship is something to behold, as he built one of the seminal companies in technology. And along with his track record and his humility and grace, he's been a real inspiration to me. So, those remarks from Frank really mean a whole lot. And Kushant, if you need a job, we're waiting for you. As soon as you graduate, give me a call. I'd also like to thank Margaret Honey and the devoted staff here at the New York Hall of Science for the great work they do. It's really amazing. And I remember the early days when I tried to start a company in New York, and it felt like, New York was not necessarily conducive to creating a tech environment, but that's really changed. And, the New York Hall of Science exemplifies what it means to kind of encourage people and their passions around STEM. And so I also like to thank all the people here for the strong support for the New York Hall of Science, because it's actually people like you who really make this come all together. There's a proverb attributed to Confucius that goes something like this: if you tell me, I will listen. If you show me, I will see. If you experience it, I will learn. And the New York Hall of Science, that I found out when I went there, is a place that truly espouses the belief that the best way to learn about technology and science is to experience it hands-on and to provide that experiential learning in order to inspire children and young adults to pursue a career in STEM. And frankly, I can personally relate, because I remember being in engineering college, bored to tears, learning about Laplace transforms and Bode plots, and wondering why this would ever affect my life. But I did become more interested in the upper level courses because they had much more of an applied orientation. And that's the reason why I focused my professional career on the intersection of business and technology, because that's where I could see technology really come to life. We have some fabulous investors in MongoDB, and one of them is Sequoia Capital, and they have this description of the people they love to work with. They call them the creative spirits, the determined, the independent thinkers, the underdogs, and the fighters. And these, frankly, are apt descriptions of the people at MongoDB. While I'm genuinely grateful for this award, it's really a tribute to the amazing team at MongoDB, some of whom are here tonight, and whose shoulders I stand on. I'd also like to acknowledge one incredibly important person in my life, and that's my wife. She herself is a scientist, and she's far smarter than me, and without her love and support, I would not be standing here, and for that I'm incredibly lucky and grateful. And to the young people in the room, STEM has never been more important. Please invest your time, as your future opportunities in life will be directly correlated to your proficiency in STEM. And to end, I'd like to end with another quote. This, I found out, was actually from Buddha, which is interesting. But what it says is, what you think, you become. What you feel, you attract. What you imagine, you create. And here's to all the future creators in this room and here in New York City. Thank you.
My job's not done yet, sorry. I think, there's a lot here. This book it's got a lot of things in it. Okay, so look, wow. Dave, first of all, thank you again. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your support of NYSCI. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce NYSCI'S co-chair of the Board of Trustees, Melissa Vale, and explainer Chris Kumi. Thank you.
Okay, where are we here? Frank, where'd you leave me? Thank you, Frank. I enjoy every minute I get to work with you. Again, I'm Melissa Vale, co-chair of the Board of Trustees of the New York Hall of Science, and am so happy to see all my fellow trustees and our wonderful staff, our corporate sponsors, our private donors and patrons, our indispensable public partners in the city of New York, our special guests and friends, and tonight's honorees. Joining me is explainer Chris Kumba, and we have the wonderful task of presenting New York Hall of Science's Distinguished Leadership Award to Dr. Michelle Mcmurray Heath. We give this award to a leader who exemplifies the spirit of NYSCI through an active commitment to social responsibility, equity and accessibility for all, and Dr. Mcmurray Heath is this year's shining example. She's a medical doctor and a molecular immunologist by training and has an amazing background and career. After over a decade of research, she was the founding director of the Aspen Institute's Health, Biomedical Science, and Society Policy Program. She was an executive at Johnson & Johnson and was instrumental in bringing their incubator program, J-Labs, to Washington, D.C. And she worked for the Obama administration as the Associate Science Director of the FDA's Center for Devices and Radiological Health. Through her scientific, academic, and government work, she's used her platforms to create awareness and increase access so that all people from all backgrounds are represented in clinical and research trials and have the same opportunities to experience cutting-edge medical innovations. Her leadership and passion then brought her to Bio, where as president and CEO, she leads the world's largest biotechnology advocacy group for over 1,000 life sciences companies and organizations from 30 countries. We are thrilled to be honoring her accomplishments tonight.
Meeting Dr. Michelle was an amazing experience. Learning about her work as the president and CEO of Bio has shown me what it takes to be a true STEM leader. Her love and commitment to science has brought her to where she is today, and this inspires me to do the same as well. Let's learn more about who Dr. Michelle is by watching this short video.
Well, if you believe that science is everywhere, almost anything you look at around you, there's a scientific explanation or exploration of. And almost any hurdle or barrier you face, there's a scientific solution that's either been developed or will be developed shortly. Both of my parents were in the healthcare fields, and it was clear to me that medicine and healthcare had a lot to offer communities in need. When I got to college and I saw that science was not just about what was in a textbook, but it was really about experiments and that you could discover things that had never been known before, I was hooked. I saw that actually what's most important for those communities in need is that scientists are out there making discoveries every day that can make their lives better. The Biotechnology Innovation Organization, we represent over 1,000 companies and academic institutions that represent all realms of biotechnology. We like to say that science is the key to social justice, and we should be pursuing just science. Science that delivers healthcare solutions, clean air, nutritious foods to every community around the world, as well as equal opportunity to pursue your goals within science.
NYSCI is really pleased to be honoring Michelle Mcmurray Heath. She, I think, shares a very fundamental commitment to equity and access to STEM opportunities.
In policy, you're also trying to solve problems that don't have a rote answer. You're really solving for an unknown. And science gives you the confidence to explore those unknowns and know that you're going to hit some dead ends, and that's all part of the process.
Dr. Michelle Mcmurray Heath inspired me to pursue careers in STEM. She really talked about how difficult it was working with the COVID-19 vaccine, and it really showed me that even when you're testing and failing, and then testing again and failing again, to always push through it, because there's always light at the end of the tunnel.
Hands-on museums are so important to break down those misconceptions and say, look at the fun and the joy and the exploration involved in science. NYSCI is so critical because it can really be a beacon of scientific hope. It's very moving to receive NYSCI'S Distinguished Leadership Award. I've committed most of my life to trying to make sure that the public has a better understanding of science and that young people in particular can see themselves in science. And to know that an institution like NYSCI, who is renowned for their ability to do just that, sees something in my work And I hope that we can go forward from here, partnering together to make sure that more and more young people around the country and the globe really get to see the power of science.
This shows you just a few of the reasons why Dr. Mcmurray Heath, why honoring her is so exciting and so aligned with what we do. And while we're really sorry that she can't be here with us tonight in person, we can give her back to you on screen with a few words accepting her award.
Science is all around us, from the leaves of a tree to the song of a bird. Science determines the nature of our world. But science is more than life in a garden or a forest. Science builds skyscrapers and subways. It explains our emotions and values. And it allows us to develop new medicines and create a more sustainable world. I grew up in Oakland, California. As a student, I read every book I could find. I went to the Exploratorium, a museum that captured the way science could transform a cavernous and historic space into an exciting and tactile experience. As I grew older, I would accompany my mother on visits to low-income families. My mother worked in public health and spoke with women about how to avoid HIV, keep their babies healthy, and many other issues. Later, working in an emergency room, I saw children come in with asthma and diabetes. As a physician, I could treat them in that moment, but I knew they needed deeper and broader solutions. Who was cleaning the air that they breathed? How could we provide them with more nutritious foods to strengthen their immune system? I pondered these questions as they slipped beyond our hospital doors. Today, leading Bio, I'm working to empower scientists to answer the toughest challenges we face. From new cures to reducing greenhouse gases, science is how we will build a better world. It's a world that must be built for everyone. A world where science is just, meaning it benefits the marginalized in addition to the privileged. They are the women visited by my mother. They are the children who came into my ER. The New York Hall of Science shares these goals, which is why I'm so honored to receive this Distinguished Leadership Award. By making diversity, inclusion, and creative thinking hallmarks of your institution, you're opening up new possibilities for young people who need more ways to explore. I encourage all of us to continue thinking big. Our society is in a difficult place right now. COVID, political polarization, inequality, and climate change are battering our lives and our psyches. We need novel solutions and the will to see them through. Science, led by the advances of this biorevolution, will produce new ideas and technologies to improve our lives. From vaccines to emission-cutting biofuels, science will make our society healthier and more sustainable. We must be prepared to accept these innovations, steward them wisely, and share their benefits among all by bringing STEM to more students, by giving children and visitors hands-on experience, and by building bridges between experiments and our daily lives. The New York Hall of Science is making science both accessible and inspirational. You're reminding us that discovery is meant for everyone. Carl Sagan said that science is a way of thinking much more than a body of knowledge. He was right. So together, let's also think about how to advance science, how to trust science, and how to ensure the scientific process is available to all. It will take commitment, resources, and most of all, the realization that scientific advancement underlies everything we do, whether in a garden, a classroom, or a boardroom. Thank you again to the New York Hall of Science for this tremendous honor. Thank you for sharing your commitment to making the world a better place for everyone. And thank you for helping to elevate the dreams of budding scientists, whether they're in New York, Oakland, or anywhere in the world.
Isn't it too bad we couldn't have had her in person? She's just outstanding. So thank you again, and I now want to invite my fellow, never mind. I want to invite our CEO, Margaret Honey, to the stage. Little change of plan. So tonight, we've heard stories of inspiration from our honorees about all the wonderful things NYSCI represents and does. The museum is not just a museum. We are an important resource for our community, and our reach goes far beyond our walls. And now I'd like to invite our local representative, Assemblywoman Catalina Cruz, to please come up and speak to how NYSCI is so important to our community in Queens.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am Assemblymember Catalina Cruz, and I have the honor of representing Jackson Heights, Corona, and Elmhurst. And I'm here to thank the Hall of Science for everything that they have done for our community. And I want to tell you a little bit of what that looks like, because I suspect that many of you don't live in Corona, Jackson Heights, or Elmhurst. And so over the last year, we became the epicenter of the epicenter. And over the last year, we were also hit by a hurricane that not only destroyed many of our homes and our neighbors' homes, but took a toll on the beautiful place that actually was where I got sworn in as an elected official. For me, this is the opportunity to tell you about the children of Corona, the children who barely had access to an iPad, to internet, who barely had access to the educational resources that many of you in this room had, but if it wasn't for the Hall of Science, many of them wouldn't have the opportunity to one day become CEOs of Elmhurst Hospital. Where's Helen? She's a child of Corona. And if it wasn't for the folks who allow us to dream about science, to dream about what the universe could look like, and that's actually what this place does. What this institution does, it allows children like me. I grew up poor, I grew up undocumented, and now I'm an elected official. It is places like this. It is places like this that allow our children to dream. And I have to tell you, every single time I go in, even as an adult, I still dream. And I dream big. I dream of the kind of community that allows our children to be whoever they want to be. You want to be an astronaut? Amazing. You want to be a lawyer? Amazing. You want to be a scientist and cure cancer? Amazing. But without institutions like this one, we can't do it. Because in Corona, we don't have those resources. So I want to thank all of you. I want to thank the corporate sponsors. I want to thank every single one of you today who has given money. And frankly, I want to encourage you to double whatever you gave. Because the day that I took a tour with Dr. Honey, and I'm going to call her doctor because for every single woman here, you know what I'm talking about. If you got that title, you better flaunt it. She's amazing. So can we get a round of applause for Dr. Honey and her team? And so about a week, we were all waiting for a while for the Hall of Science to reopen, and we were so excited that it was finally going to reopen, and then Ida hit. And when I toured the location, what I saw broke my heart. And what I saw is going to cost probably over $10 million to fix. And so tonight we raised a little bit over 1.5. And I've already talked to Dr. Honey. I am going to pledge money towards this effort too, but we're going to need more. So I urge all of you to reach in your pockets, in your very nice, deep corporate pockets, and help us bring science to the children of Queens and all of New York City, because this isn't just for the children of Jackson Heights, Corona, and Elmhurst. It is for every New York child to be able to dream and be whoever they want to be. And before I get off the stage, I want to tell you what they have done for us, what the Hall of Science has done for our families. So during the pandemic, when many of you could afford to stay home, where many of you could afford to isolate, the Hall of Science said, use our facilities. And they partner up with the Elmhurst Corona Recovery Collaborative. And I remember going to their, I'm sure many of you have been, and so you see that gigantic parking lot. Imagine that gigantic parking lot filled with testing, turkeys, food, with community members looking to actually just get nourishment. They did that for us. And for our children and the families who are looking to figure out how do we transition from every day being into a classroom to now doing things online, they were there for us. So now they need us to be there for them. And we're going to do just that, and I hope that you will join me in making sure that Dr. Honey and her team can allow many, many more children to continue to dream. Thank you.
Thank you for everything you do for Queens, Assemblywoman Cruz. We care about our community, and we're happy to celebrate together when we reopened this summer on July 2nd. And then, as you've just heard, after spending a year reimagining and refreshing the museum, we were finally able to share with our community and visitors. And on July 2nd, we welcome back thousands to experience our STEM learning, some old, some new, and all innovative, which is why our setback in early September was so discouraging. As you've heard, Hurricane Ida inflicted terrible damage on NYSCI, making us close again temporarily. And we now want to spend a few moments talking about the challenges that lie ahead. And as it's difficult to describe in words what happened to our iconic museum, we want to show you a brief video that will help you visualize it.
In certain places, we had up to 3 feet of water. Pretty much everywhere else, we had about a foot. The damage is severe, and we're rolling up our sleeves to be able to get back open. What's been lost is that opportunity to create the excitement and passion for what science can be for young people. The 500,000 children that visit us annually, the teachers who learn from our educators have no science center to go to. With the pandemic, we were closed for 16 months, open for 2 wonderful, glorious months, and then we were hit by Hurricane Ida. Although NYSCI is once again closed to the public, we are continuing to do all the work we do to deliver our fundamental mission of making science available and accessible to everyone. Our education programs are being delivered out in the schools, sometimes at colleague institutions or virtually. We're continuing to do our important R&D work. And our youth programming has once again pivoted, and they're making videos that we can send to schools. They're having conversations with STEM professionals. They're exploring career pathways. Of course, opening the doors again is going to require us to have resources and financial support, working with our partners in the city, our many elected officials, and our supporters across the board. We will recover from this as well. We are New York City's Science Center, and that means we're tough, we're resilient. So even a flood of the magnitude that we experienced in this building is not going to knock us down. We've done it once, we'll do it again, and we will make this place stronger, better, more vibrant than ever. We're New Yorkers, it's what we do.
Thank you, Melissa, and thank you, Assemblywoman Cruz. You are extraordinary. You know, Queens has, in its women elected officials, a kind of secret sauce. And a brief story, the reason why the Elmhurst Corona Recovery Collaborative got started was because of a conversation I had early one Sunday morning with the late Claire Schulman at the height of the pandemic, when we were all going, what can we do? And all the city was having us do was fill out form after form after form. And Claire said, Margaret, you know what to do. Get everybody around a table and figure it out. And Assemblywoman Cruz, you are following in that great woman's footsteps in everything you are doing in the amazing borough of Queens. So thank you, and thank you for your support. So as you just saw in the video, on September 1st, Hurricane Ida hit us very badly. It inundated the lower level of the museum. It destroyed exhibitions and labs and science classrooms and staff office space. And we're closed once again. And we can really use your help in coming back better than ever. We really want to show what resilience in the face of climate change can look like. And we know that science can help us understand natural disasters. Science can give us the tools to respond to them. That's why for decades, our institution has invested in programs and exhibitions that help people understand the complex systems behind climate science and explore how to build more sustainable communities and neighborhoods. We are absolutely going to show the world that science, engineering, and technology are the tools we need for understanding, for recovery, and for prevention. And I would argue that our mission has never been more important. And I want to ask all of you who have joined us here tonight for your support, and all of you who are listening to this program online for your support as well. As you can see on screen, you can text NYSCI to 44-321 to help us reopen as a better and bolder institution. And when we reopen our doors, you will know that you helped to make that possible. So we thank you in advance for your support. Thank you all. And now, because this evening is really meant to be a celebration, it's time to begin what many of you, as I think, remember and recall as the highlights of our galas. As you've heard and as you've seen, we know that using our hands to discover science is our secret sauce. So to help illustrate our work and to continue to inspire you, we want to invite you to join us in our science moment. And I promise you, it's going to be fun. So to get us started, I'd like to introduce NYSCI'S Senior Vice President of Youth Development and Museum Culture, Priya Mohabir.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Good night, and thank you to Margaret. Welcome to all of our guests, our friends, and our supporters. It's great to see so many new and familiar faces here. And so at this moment, like Margaret said, we're going to transition to show you what actually makes NYSCI so special, what makes us fun, what makes us magical. And I'm going to ask Chris and Jess, explainers at the New York Hall of Science, and my colleague Jasmine Maldonado, our Director of Science Coaching, to join me on stage so that we can bring some of that NYSCI specialness to life at this year's Science Moment. This gives us a chance to bring that NYSCI experience to you here in this room without ever leaving your seats. And for those of you joining us from home, you can participate as well. Our explainers, as Frank mentioned before, are the museum's ambassadors and facilitate and interact with our visitors, giving them enriched hands-on science experiences at our exhibits and programs that really follow the visitor's interest. Now I'm going to let our explainers show their skills off to you, and they're going to lead you in an activity using some of the materials you have at your table. So have fun. You're in good hands.
Okay. Can everybody hear me okay? All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Christopher, and welcome to our Science Moment demonstration. Tonight, we are going to talk to you folks about the wonderful gaseous substance we call air. Now, air is all around us, but we don't really know how powerful air can be. Now, with your help, we are going to create a mini air blaster to better understand how powerful air can be. Now, the materials are on the table. The materials are a plastic cup with a hole in the bottom, a pre-cut balloon, and some tape. The first thing you want to do is to find a partner, or as I like to call it, finding your air buddy.
Hi.
It could be the person next to you. So I want everybody to take a second, find your air buddy. Like I said, it could be the person next to you. And once you found your air buddy, we're going to move on into how to make the mini air blaster. All right, everybody found their air buddies? All right, so now the first thing we're going to do, we're going to take the pre-cut balloon, you're going to stretch it out, and you're going to cover the top of the cup, which is the side you drink from. So take a moment, get the pre-cut balloon, stretch it out, and then put it on top of the cup, which is the side you drink from. So this, you may need help, so you can always look for your air buddy. And then once you guys are done with that, can you guys give me a thumbs up so that way I can know when you're ready? All right, I see a couple thumbs up over here. All right. We have a couple in the back.
Okay.
It's all right, take a couple seconds. It's okay if the balloon rips. If it rips, that's okay. Just make sure that it covers the top side of the cup. Okay, so now moving on, we are going to take the tape and you're going to wrap it around the cup. Now wrapping around the cup is going to securely secure the balloon so that way it doesn't come off from the cup.
Yep.
So take a second, take the tape and wrap it around the cup.
Like that. Wow, it goes all.
And then once you're done, can you give me another thumbs up so that way I know we can move on? Okay, we got a couple thumbs up over here.
Perfect.
Okay, how about from this side of the room? Are you guys ready? Okay, we're getting there. All right. That's all right, take your time. Yeah, we good over here? All right. Now, if you guys were able to do it properly, congratulations. You have completed the mini air blaster. Now, we're going to try to test this out. To test it out, we're going to take the cup, and you see on the balloon side, you can use your fingers to simply tap the balloon or flick it, and it'll be able to push some air outside of the cup. And you could be able to test it out just by using the side cons that are hanging on the centerpiece on your tables. So go ahead, test it out. See if it works.
Okay.
Grab the cup, tap the balloon side, and you'll be able to use the power of air to move the side cons.
Nice.
All right, and continue testing it out. Now, I just don't want anybody to break wind. Did anybody break wind yet?
No.
Because I don't want to see anybody break wind yet. All right. All right, congratulations, guys. Give you guys a round of applause.
Woo!
All right, so now, moving on. You guys made a mini air blaster. I'm going to show you my air blaster, which is slightly different. So I'm going to move back here. Now, what I present to you, the giant air cannon. Now, for this demonstration, I'm going to need a little bit of help. So with the help of my lovely assistant, last year's top of the ladder winner, Jessica, is going to help us with this activity. And also, I'm going to need some helpers to help this out for the next activity. So we have our helpers ready? Yep, so the helpers stand on the green tape. We have one right here. We have one in the center, right there. Now, as you guys are setting up, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this giant air cannon. Now, the giant air cannon, the one thing that's different is the size, of course. it's larger, but there are some similarities. We have a hole in the bottom, and we also have a plastic covering on top that we will use to exit out of the cannon. Now, as you see, our helpers are stacking cups. We are going to get ready ourselves. Now, just like this. All right. Now, helpers, are we ready? Yeah? Okay, because ready or not, here we come. Okay, ready? Aim, fire.
So hard to see.
Whoop. Almost there.
Oh.
There you go.
So close.
Yeah. Whoop.
Ah! We're getting there.
Give it a couple seconds.
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
There we go. We got one more. All right, we got one more left.
Oh man.
All right, teamwork.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's see.
So close.
Oh, close?
Oh!
Yeah. All right, round of applause for our helpers. Thank you. You guys can have a seat.
Thank you so much.
Now, as I mentioned before, these air cannons are larger, so meaning that since they are larger, we are able to make the air more visible. So with the help of this fog machine, we're going to fill this cannon up with some fog, and you'll be able to visibly see the air exit out of the cannon. Okay, so we're going to fill it up. Okay, that's one cannon. Now, in a few seconds, the forecast is going to be a little bit sunny, but with a slight chance of fog coming your way. Okay?
Can you pull on the bottom?
All right. Are we ready? Give it a couple seconds. All right. Ready? Aim. Fire. All right, cool. Now, if you notice, let me take this down. Thank you, thank you. Now, if you notice, there was a circular shape exiting out of the cannon. That is called an air vortex. So, the air vortex is when the air in the center moves faster than the air surrounding the edges, creating like a donut shape. That's called an air vortex. Now, air vortex can be seen in the real world as well. One example would be jet engines. So when jet engines turn on, they're able to create an air vortex. Another example are helicopters. When the propellers start rotating, they create an air vortex as well. And finally, when dolphins and whales blow bubbles underwater, you'll be able to see air vortices as well. The cannon is one of our amazing activities the explainers perform at NYSCI. The air cannon, along with the air plate demonstration, helps visitors understand the power of air, making learning a breeze. Now, also at NYSCI, there are many other exhibits and demonstrations explainers perform, showcasing the visitors that science is all around us and it is for everyone. Okay, this concludes our science moment demonstration. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to hand the stage back to Priya. Thank you guys.
Oh my God, wasn't that great? That was so much fun. So as you can see, as we do a little housekeeping, as you can see, this activity creates an excitement about something that's around us all the time, just air. We hope that you continue your exploration of the science moment. You can try things at home, try to knock down things larger than a cup, right? You could continue your exploration. But I really want to thank Jasmine, Chris, and Jess for leading us in this year's science moment. So you're not done with me yet. I have, easy transition. So our explainers, as you just saw here, are a terrific group of young people who make learning at NYSCI not only fun, but it's relatable and accessible to our visitors. Over the last 35 years, more than 4,000 young people have gone through this program. The explainers serve as the face of our museum, welcoming visitors and facilitating these experiences. They get access to academic and career support. They have opportunities to meet amazing STEM professionals, many in the room, and discover STEM careers through things like corporate and university field trips, interviews with STEM career professionals and STEM leaders, and internships. Every year, we are proud to welcome a diverse group of young people from all around New York into the program. 85% of the program's participants come from minority backgrounds and 60% are women. To give you a flavor of how diverse our participant pool is, an average grouping of 125 explainers speak over 23 languages. We are so proud of the impact we've had. 95% of explainers have gone on to graduate college. 70% of them have gone into careers in STEM. The Science Career Ladder has been a model for at least 24 similar programs in museums and institutions worldwide, demonstrating what a testament it is to its innovative nature and success of the program. Over the last year and a half, you've heard, right? Things have been different. Things have changed and shifted. And we've had to, when in-person interactions were just not possible and limited, we had to develop new opportunities to keep the explainers a central part of the NYSCI experience. So one of the things that we did, it was really engage them in meaningful project-based work with a range of museum professionals at NYSCI, providing rich new opportunities for additional learning through practice, so giving them that experience firsthand. We engage cohorts of explainers in the research and exhibit design process, which informed the development of new exhibits and activities on the museum floor. And then they also, as you got to see in the video, created virtual resources that got to bring some of the signature aspects of the NYSCI experience into their homes. We are so proud of each of our explainers, and we want to recognize their accomplishments. So each year we award the Seidenberg Family Top of the Ladder Award. I am so excited and so proud that this year's recipient, and you've seen him many times already, is Christopher Kumbe. Chris has been an explainer. I'll pause. He deserves that acknowledgement. So just a little bit more about Chris, and then you'll get to hear from the man himself. Chris has been an explainer for the last 6 years, and during his time in the Science Career Ladder has always strived to create the best experience not only for our visitors, but his fellow explainers. As Chris progressed through the rungs of the career ladder, he not only continued to build his own confidence and comfort in engaging with our diverse audiences, but he's made many contributions to help NYSCI further its mission. Working with the exhibits team and other explainers, Chris helped to design new activities in Design Lab to shift the ways that our visitors engaged with design and engineering at the museum. I am so proud to witness Chris's growth during this time and look forward to his continued success.
It all started when I was around the 4th grade. I noticed that I was very skilled in math, and my teachers noticed that too. I also had a tutor at that time, and she told me that I should be an engineer. First, my sister applied for the explainer role, and then a couple years later, I soon applied for that role as well.
I'm so excited that we are honoring Chris with this year's Seidenberg Family Top of the Ladder Award. Chris has been in the Science Career Ladder program for over 6 years, and it has been amazing to see his growth. And as an explainer on the museum floor, one of the ways that Chris has really enhanced the museum is his interest in engineering. He really helps create opportunities for us to think about how are we reimagining engineering activities on the museum floor.
So being an explainer, it was my very first job. So starting out, I was a very quiet person, but over time, I began to get more comfortable. And I soon later developed communication skills by performing science demonstration for visitors. And then I took it to another level by becoming a senior explainer. And that really helped me develop problem-solving skills and just being a mentor for all the other explainers. The traits that I've developed here at the New York Hall of Science are also needed in order to be a successful engineer. I currently go to the City College of New York, majoring in civil engineering. What I want to do as a career is help improve the city when it comes to transportation What I love about working most with visitors is that special bond that you can't really get anywhere else. It's always a good feeling when you're working with a visitor on an activity and it works, right? They'll remember that. After being cooped up in my house for 18 months, I was a little bit anxious when it came to talking to visitors again. But after I spoken to a couple of visitors on like the first week, it just became like riding a bike. I got back on the swing of things.
I was so excited to see explainers back on the museum floor, to see families and children and adults here at NYSCI engaging and learning and having fun. And the explainers really knocked it out of the park. They tried new things, we failed, we tried new things again. I think it's the process of our learning that we really lean into, both in the Science Career Ladder and at NYSCI.
There's always something new at NYSCI that anybody can learn. Winning the Seidenberg Family Top of the Ladder Award, it means a lot to me. It motivates me to keep doing what I'm doing in school and in life as well. I've experienced a lot of failure at times, and what kept me going was working here at NYSCI. So receiving this award, it symbolizes me that I know I'm going in the right direction.
Chris, on behalf of NYSCI, it's my honor and pleasure to present you with the Seidenberg Family Top of the Ladder Award.
Thank you, Priya. It's an honor to be receiving this award tonight in front of family and friends of NYSCI. If you were to tell me 10 years ago that I would be standing here and giving a speech in front of everyone, I would call you crazy. Well, first I would run away because a complete stranger would be talking to me, and then I would call you crazy. But anyways, about 10 years ago, I remembered I started to fall in love with math, and it was all thanks to my math teacher at the time. She would consider herself a math wizard, and her energy and passion for math influenced the entire class to love math as well. There was a phrase she would always tell us, and that was, go the extra mile. She explained that this doesn't just apply to math, but in life as well. If you're willing to put in the extra mile in anything, then you will go far. This phrase, along with her wonderful teaching skills, made it easy for the class to understand, and that made learning math so much fun. Today, I try my best to utilize that same energy and passion my teacher had when it comes to being an explainer at NYSCI. When I joined the Science Career Ladder as an explainer back in 2015, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Growing up, the only time I learned anything science related was in school. And there were some topics that were interesting and some not so much. I had no problem learning the science content, but to be able to teach it in front of visitors is a whole other level for me. During my first few years, I was a very nervous, quiet, and shy explainer. It was hard for me to approach visitors and strike up a conversation about science. I would often do everything in my power to try to stay away from visitors, just like running away from strangers that tell me I'm going to win an award. But with a little bit of time, practice, and help, it became easier to be an explainer. For the past 6 years, I've been working in the Science Career Ladder, and within those 6 years, I've learned a lot. I've learned that you don't necessarily have to be the smartest person in the world to be an explainer. If you're determined to learn something, then eventually it'll be easier to teach it to others. Another thing I developed over time was how to be more resilient. We've all experienced failure at some point in our lives, some more than others. I happen to have a good share of failures myself working at NYSCI. Well, maybe a little bit too much, but anyways. But these failures are what's going to shape our success. I am able to learn from my mistakes, develop new skills, and to always remain persistent when things get rough. And these past 2 years have been pretty rough on all of us, including me. Even before the pandemic, I was struggling with countless failures after failure with both school and in life. There have been times where I thought I wasn't cut out to be an engineering major, and that I should quit the career path entirely. But what kept me motivated the most was the support I had from the explainer leadership team and the rest of my fellow explainers, and I thank them for that. Meeting such wonderful people who worked in this department, both past and present, has helped me become the best explainer I could be. We choose what holds us back, but we also choose what moves us forward. And I choose to go the extra mile and continue this engineering path. So, receiving this award symbolizes how much I've grown as an explainer, as a student, and as a person. And I would like to thank my family and friends who made a major impact in my life, because I wouldn't be standing here tonight receiving this award if it wasn't for their love and support. Thank you all.
Oh, that was incredible. So thank you again, Chris, and congratulations. At this time, I'm just going to welcome back Margaret to the stage once more to close out our program. Thank you.
Thank you, Priya. And Chris, congratulations. Chris is joined here tonight by his family, a group of very special people. And we're so glad you could be here, and I know how proud you are and we all are of your son. So one more round of applause for Chris. As Priya said, I'm closing out the program, and you will get to enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you all for joining us. I'm thrilled to announce that we have raised an extraordinary $1,572,000 to help us with our recovery. Thank you. As you've seen, the young people of New York need us. We need them. And all of you are helping to make us possible. So stay tuned for our reopening announcements, and we'll invite all of you out to Queens to visit the Hall of Science in one of the most wonderful parks in the world. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the evening.